Hi, Rabo. This is Ikai, and I was in isolation, and the Wi-Fi is so bad. School VPN didn't work, and be locked in a tiny room also gave me some pleasure. And just before the deadline, today China time is the 10th of May. I have adjusted myself to do the presentation, and the artist I'm talking about is Cao Fei, who is a Chinese, actually Cantonese. She born in Guangzhou, and she had like her early education in China. So I mean, primary school and high school. Then later, she joined some show in Western countries. Then she get more affected. She had more show, but every work she had, it's all have many Chinese elements. And in the beginning, let's have a look of her work and video to have a general idea of what kind of art she is doing. Let me share my screen. Mm, wait. Okay. Here is some photo of the work she did. As you see, this one, it's all about like China, and it's very traditional, like 70, 80 years in China. And like the background is red because new public of China just uh, built, and everyone is big fan of Mao Zedong. So like red and this kind of gold is similar to our flag, and that's the element of that time. And there's also some other thing of her work. One general thing I really like is like her work is not only on this time. She made her work like have some part come from like the old time of China, like long times ago, and some part is now. So she combines these two together, make a fake world, make a like 3D world she created under some principles she made. And those principles combine the Chinese element, and that's the excited point. She find inspire her all the time. Like here is some Chinese element as well, like this kind of structure is used like 70, 80 years as well. And like, and that's what she looked like. And she's very different with what she looked like when she was young. I think that's because she gets lots of Western ideas, so she changes the looking. And this one is also Chinese element, like this door, the stone structure, uh, and like Chinese letters. And she had so many shows under the world. Like this one is in Macau, and the racing part, the racing yard for cars. But this kind of um, blue and yellow stuff is like the painting in the cave drawn in like 1,000 years ago. Let me show you. You see this? And similar to this. So she is combining the ancient Chinese element to the modern world and creating a fake world, digital world. And have a look of this video. Wait a second. Yeah.
When we first started working on our designs and proposals for R&B City, we made a list of factors, a wish list for things that we hoped to bring into existence in Second Life. We created a 3D collage of the different components for this city, such as a people's factory, the new village, and a slum building. What we were attempting to do was to select a series of images from a wide range of Chinese cities with distinctive characteristics, and overlay and superimpose them onto this virtual city. We would then turn this model over to the builders of Second Life, our virtual architects, so that they could reload the 3D model back into Second Life. I think R&B City is kind of an imitation, a dramatic mimicry, an attempt to capture and mirror in a theatrical manner the building and development of an urban center. We had to make tons of changes and do a lot of adjustments using all the technologies available through Second Life. Originally, we had planned to have the project finished within 3 months, but eventually the sheer volume of the work dragged us down. To make the situation more complicated, our builders are overseas, which means they have little understanding of many of the symbols and motifs that are uniquely Chinese. For instance, when erecting an apartment building, they would give it the texture of a Western apartment block. There were many examples of this kind in the construction process that highlight the huge differences and contrasts in aesthetic approach between the East and West. In fact, I now realize that R&B City is somewhat like a traditional Chinese brush painting in the depiction of the towns, the hills, the mists and clouds, the people, the skyline above, and the earth below. It makes me wonder why a digital city of today would share similar traits with an ancient Chinese city. I have a feeling that perhaps we had grown up with this aesthetic sense imbued in our blood, that had always been part of our upbringing without our realizing it. And when you look at the world and then design your own new world, unconsciously you use this intrinsic and built-in system to do your planning accordingly. In retrospect, I realize that I have always been looking for these connections, the differences and similarities between the past and present, the Asian and the Western.
How can I make it bigger? Okay, so in this video, as you can see, she put lots of elements like buildings, you know, the Shanghai Dongfang Tower, and those like inside the house, the China, the vessel, and also you can see like the structure she put like those things is very Chinese style, like Chinese painting. So lots of like blanket place, like the cloud, like the sea, and only like few things in the screen. And that's called humanity so society. I think she is like the new generation of artists, very respective for her generation, because before her it's like Ai Weiwei and other artists like who build up the Beijing Olympia opening festival. If you heard that before, like they have those fireworks and who is the feet mark. And I think it's generation and by generation. It's also very Chinese style here, like decoration. The part I really like her work is because what I make is really physical, like the sword, like the sculpture. But what her make is very visual, very digital, and it's like totally two aspect of art we are making. But in spite of her, I never think like I can make art like making videos and other things. But we have like something similar, as her said in this video. She said like there is something in our blood our make us making something like Chinese style. One more thing I want to mention is she is really multimedia artist. She not only making videos, not only making visual art, like design the city and have lots of show. She also write poems. And I think because I read her bibliography, it's like when she was 18 years old, 20 years old, she had her first artwork about cosplay, and it made her famous. Then she explored the Western country more and more, and she just keeping doing like put Chinese elements together to make a visual world, to make a fancy world, but unable to build up in realistic world. I think that's really interesting, and that give me a direction what more I can do. Thank you for choosing this artist for me, and I think what she do is really something well, something I should learn because what I make is too physical. And that's all about it. Thank you. How to end this?